We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
I'm back. That still has a nice beat to it. Still seated twerking to bounce. New year, and that song still has a vibe in 2025. Also, it's time for a new intro. I am in with a podcast change. I added the F.A.A.F.O to it, but I'm back with the same formula that has allowed me to be successful in the past. I've set realistic intention. I plan on being present and following through, but I still intend to remain petty and hold grudges. Not all intentions need to be positive. Also, I will be unengaged and unbothered by people and things in my life that do not serve me. That means parasitic people, unsolicited judgments, biased newspapers, and mainstream banks. I will not apologize for maintaining my mental peace. Happy and unbothered and at peace because I'm at unbothered. All day, every day, being unbothered is my way. Join me. Do you always ask yourself, are you about that life? Yes. If you are going to live a life of intention, you set the intention. You actively seek joy. You refuse to lean into chaos and discourse because those things don't serve you. Your moves are measured. You don't make rash decisions, and therefore you don't move rashly, whether with your life or with finances. What'd you think? That you were not going to remain intentionally petty? Come on now, y'all. We always have to remain petty. That's the stuff of life. According to the Felicia Baxter book of Petty-lations, having a healthy amount of pettiness is going to be necessary in these upcoming days. A petty person doesn't remember where their keys are, but they remember every slight down to the minute that it happened. And we're not going to forget it in the most opportune times. We're saving up. We got a running list of petty issues with certain people and won't forget anything. We don't loan money. We don't tell you who not to trust. We're only going to say it one time because we know the patterns. Our whole outlook in life is not trying to get grifted. That's probably out of experience because we actually have been preyed upon. And we don't want to go back to that. We value our peace. We value privacy because you don't need to know everything. And you don't have to always live your life so bright around everybody. People talk too much. They post everything. They want to present such a positive outlook on life, but guess what? People are going to use that to play or hate against you and plot against you. So keep a lid on it. Post a good meal that you cooked at home, but don't basically say where you source your ingredients. If you're going to be about avoiding those places that don't respect you as a human being, You don't necessarily need to post that. If you just don't shop there, don't go on some rampage because it's not really necessary and they're not going to care anyways. What I've learned from just my few years of experience is that loyalty means nothing, and people just see you as a potential mark, customer or not. They're really not going to care because they're going to either overestimate your worth or underestimate their worth based on their own short vision. But I don't want to give people the ammunition to work against me. So I'm still going to play my cards close to my chest. I'm not going to be sharing all of my plans because again, don't make rash moves, but sometimes you still have to move in silence. There are no extraction teams because ain't nobody got that kind of time. And your fight is not everybody's fight. People will smile in your face and they will backstab you every single time. You don't have to tell your people your weaknesses because they'll use those against you, just like they sometimes will see something that could potentially be your strength to try to basically make you feel bad or to put you in your place. Know for that from experience. I had somebody that was so annoyed that I would refuse to continue to be abused in a position. And when I basically was hip to it and I refused to, they basically came out of their mouth crazy. But they showed their true colors, and that's when I knew that there are no extraction teams and I can't trust anybody. Truly. Don't tell the people your failures because they'll always see you as a failure. And guess what? Use it against you. Don't tell people your next big move. Move in silence and let the results shock them. Don't tell people your secrets. Only a fool does that. Don't tell people your income or the source of your income. Just keep them wondering. Most of the time, they're going to over or underestimate what you're doing in silence. They don't have to know. It ain't their business. And again, stop just talking so much. Shutting up is free, y'all. Why are you going to pay for that? Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. So take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere. Ways to know and ways to grow, a temporal rainbow. I can be anything. So take a look, it's in a book, a temporal rainbow. A temporal rainbow. A temporal rainbow. I've made it no secret that my favorite pastime is fraud, investigation fraud. American Greed is one of my favorite shows, and I like watching all other crime stories that intrigued by those people that are the biggest grifters. I mean, from the queen pins of BMF to some of the titans of Wall Street. Peregrine, they had nothing on Madoff. Wow, it's just crazy to me how people work so hard to be a fraud. You know what I mean? But I also, in my reading or my enjoyment of these shows, I actually came across a book and an author by the name of Maria Konnikova, The Confidence Game. And this was something realest thing ever, not a lot of people ever know. Everyone will fall victim. This is from her book directly. I quote, Everyone will fall victim to a confidence artist, one stripe or another. You'll fall for it. And the question is, why? And can you ever understand your own mind well enough that you learn to extricate yourself before it's too late? What we have seen is on the show like American Greed, how people like Ken Starr, the Bernie Madoffs, other fraudsters, they built people for millions and billions of dollars, and people, oh, that dude that said they were chasing Tesla and running their mouth against Ford and used a Photoshop picture, put their hydrogen use base fueled image of their fake truck on the top of a Ford F-150 that they were dogging. And they said, oh, their truck, hydrogen powered semi truck, was not a push vehicle. When at the big grand auto show, it was powered by an extension cord. Oh my God. Everything was Photoshop. Everything. They were lying about everything. People, at one point at his height before he got pushed out, dude was worth $8 billion capitated before the IPO, buying $30 million ranches in Utah and built all of the investors for everything that they had. And if they had taken a deeper dive, they would have found out and gotten out before it truly was too late. And they truly did lose and they lost everything. If they had listened to their gut because it was too good to be true and did some just internet sleuthing and increasing the size of images, it would have led them away from the grifter that was trying to make people think that he was the guy that was before he got pushed out of Nicola, before he got pushed out, that he was actually not who he was pretending to be. And you don't necessarily know that you've been had. Truly, some people stay in the grift because it's easier and people want to believe that nobody will try to take them for their money or their time or whatever they have, because they honorably believe, and sometimes because they want to believe in something or someone because they've lost everything. And why would you come and take the little bit that I have? But the thing is, most grifters truly are sociopaths. They only care that they get caught. They don't really care who they're conning, which is also sad when you think about it too. So in this week's episode, not only am I continuing my own fascination because I do want to become a fraud examiner, and you would think we are being led by an entire party of frauds. The leader of our country now is a big fraud and a convicted fraudster, con artist. But you know what? People will believe, and he outright said, this is what he's going to do. He know it's not right, but he doesn't care because he's on some get back petty mess. And if you get somebody and giving them that much power, they're going to abuse it just like anybody else that's just as petty as they are. So with all of those things said, here's the thing. The only thing that you are not guaranteed to not get got. Let's just say that. Can you mitigate your losses? Yes, you can. Because once you really recognize it and you don't try to double down to get your losses back, the best thing you can probably do is just cut to not lose anything further. Because if you figure out that you have been defrauded, you're never going to, if you're still participating in the defrauding, you're never going to get everything back. You can only stop the losses. And what they call and this is the thing about a con. Ponzi schemes, pyramids, all of those things. Not only will you lose your principal, if you did get paid anything, the government can come around and sue you to claw all of those and take back the little bit that you did get. So you lost all your money and anything that you were paid on top of, because what the thing about Ponzi and pyramid schemes, most of them are okay and they can be they'll make those interest payments or any other type of payments as long as other money is still coming in. How they win and they all fall apart. When they do fall apart, it's because there's no new money coming in, and then the government comes in, IRS or any of the alphabet boys come and shut down everything. And then once they're involved, not only are they going to come after the fraudster, they're coming back after any payments to anybody else that may have been defrauded, but if you did receive any payments because they followed the money, they're coming back for them payments. So it's like you got twice, literally. Got square. This is what I'm actually going to call this part of the episode. Not only for today and fraud, but getting got square and what exactly that means. That kind of sucks when you think about it, right?
To my homegirl, Naquita J. Elmore, Najee. Lift every chair and swing till all them white folks scream. Thought y'all could run up on our black king. I'm glad the squad pulled up, dedicated to Nuck if you buck. May it resound loud as the rolling sea. Throw your hats high in the air until Unc comes with the chair. Swim the seas until our cousins come and they rescue me. Let this be a lesson to y'all. Remember the Montgomery Brawl, where white folks fucked around and they found out.
I'm not sure who needs to hear this, but Cancers and other Virgos, y'all need to calm down. For real. You need to rest and conserve your energy and also pick your battles. We are only in maybe a couple of days into this new era of global sociopathy and the new neo-fascism. And I'm strictly talking about United States citizens. We're seeing where people are trying to legitimize their sociopathy, their racism, and misogyny. Where everything that has proven that, and every attempt to move this country towards not being trash human beings, there's been a huge backlash of going back to conservatism and truly neo-fascism. We're seeing a raid on just dismantling things that undergird social welfare, voting systems. We're having black or brown mass shirts deporting people, revoking of visas to the learn. You want to keep people stupid so you can control them. You want to keep everyone on edge just to, again, have a semblance of always chaos. And you never know when the next shoe was supposed to fall. Again, chaos is a mechanism of control. But again, if you have intentions and you realize that being prepared, always being prepared to completely live off grid or to drop and to be able to do that, in these times, you have to be able to live off grid in plain sight, because the mechanism of chaos with just a stroke of one person's pen is, you're always going to be on edge. That's why y'all need to rest and prepare for what you actually can control. Always having charged up, knowing what VPN is, and having the ability again to truly live off grid but still be in this country. How can you truly disappear? Because there are so many forces that are trying to make you disappear. And how to navigate this reality, even though it's surreal, without becoming hopeless, that also is going to take intention and zeal. Because I can conjecture, do people realize some of the most cultural things that define us culturally were born out of necessity, and also because we were not allowed access to certain foods, spices, housing, and, conventional arts. We developed jazz, we developed rock and roll and country, because you wouldn't let us be classically trained and also play in the dance halls. We weren't allowed any of those things. So we had to do the boogie woogie and some alternative ways to mimic what is innate in us from the motherland, and to create, but that it was strictly our own. Because although we had these innate memories, we still did not have access to convention. And then we kept being told, that is a bastardization of conventional. That can't be accepted. But you wouldn't let us in, and then you started to see that ours was more enjoyable, so you appropriated it and then tried to shut us out. That's what you're doing now. We built all of these things and the entire American experience. You're trying to whitewash it and then shut us out. But always we come back and we create and become more creative and more Black, Asian, First Nation, when we act out of necessity, because we hold on to what we know. And so even if you try to erase us, we're not going anywhere. We just basically go underground and strengthen and multiply and create something great. And while we're on that, can I actually just ask y'all, why y'all so mad? It's because that you are so unsure or insecure about the fallacy of your white supremacy. That's why you have to work so hard to erase everybody's contribution to this fallacy. And also, this is the T. Dear white people, racism is stupid. White supremacy is stupid. Any type of superiority based on race, class, sex is stupid. Erasing history to rewrite it in your favor is stupid. Sorry. And also, and again, the T is, we don't really want to be you. We don't want to be white, because you got to work too hard to actually be considered superior. And again, it's a social construct and it's a complete fallacy. Ain't nobody trying to work that hard to get basically prove to everybody else they are superior when we know you are human, we're all equal, have our own unique contributions, but it doesn't make any of us above anybody else. And though we're only above those that want everybody to be sociopaths and try to basically aggrandize you to your own fake superiority. And it's so stupid. And it's so exhausting to basically try to prove that your views are wrong. And you can't keep people stupid. People can have differing views and still we can still be together. But it should not be based on you basically being superior and being given privileges just because of your skin color. That's dumb. And again, we don't want to be white if it means being a trash human being. You got to basically let that sink in. Also, it's not only economically not sound to be a racist because y'all have to spend a whole bunch of money and time and to do what you're actually doing. And then we're going to have to realize when this is all over, people actually are petty and we keep notes too. And we're going to remember all of the trash human beings that are doing the beckoning now. Your term in office is coming up. And I honestly believe the backlash is y'all going to get voted out because we can't tolerate this. We're going to see a rise of truly a multi-party system because the way both parties are constructed now, it is not it's not sustainable. When you base your power on bullying, fear, lies, that is really dumb. And all the reversals that you're doing, it's such a waste of time because, again, we all have the notes. And that's why we're probably going to see a surge in DVDs, resales, and people looking to other options besides using streaming services of those that pay homage to these fools in office. I hope Costco holds out long enough and they expand availability of DVDs, or y'all can just navigate to alternative platforms, selling platforms. People are going to shop. Alibaba may be just a way to, even with the tariffs, because China said they want that smoke, you can surely be able to utilize different platforms. They want y'all to think that even though we know that there is a gross socioeconomic disparity, even with it, we got over $2 trillion purchase power. We could take our money elsewhere. If you really need that DVD of All Eyes on Me, because I think what is going to be allowed, unless you use VPN, a lot of stuff that you're not going to be able to see. When you fire the National Archivist, when you try to get rid of the Department of Education because you think diversity, equity, and inclusion is a bad word, when you want people to know that their microaggressions are foul, and it's not indoctrination. Race theory and all of those things and learning about slavery and Reconstruction, all of those things are not bad things. They were wrong. We need to know, the entire world needs to know about it, but definitely here, because the perpetrator, we're talking about the idea of institutional racism being displayed and touted as the only right way because it's the white way. That's the fallacy. And that is the times that we're living under. So if you want to know what it was way back when, we don't have to look that far. But I'm going to need the receipts. And just so you know, the streaming services you may not have access to a lot of these things because a lot of these platforms are willing to kowtow to the delusions of sociopaths. So get some strip tease and a bone up on your DVDs. How about that? Furthermore, we always talk about one of the greatest Republicans, Ronald Reagan. This is another true T. Ronald Reagan was a B actor, governor to president. He was full on in being affected by Alzheimer's. I watch All Eyes on Us, how the community in the South Bronx rebuilt their own neighborhoods by the skin of their teeth. Had Jimmy Carter visited, and I honestly believe that their use of community power basically inspired him to go on to work for Habitat for Humanity based on the model that they created in the South Bronx. Although they got some support from the Carter administration, he was only in there for one term. They had Reagan visiting the South Bronx, being cussed out by them, saying, I can't effing get anything done here if you don't vote me in. Nancy Reagan in behind looking like a scared Karen, and he disrespecting an entire neighborhood. And basically he was like, say, you got to vote for me because I'm the only one that can get it done. And then we watched 8 years of being ignored by the onslaught that there was of Reaganomics. We saw the Great Recession because of the dysregulation and strides toward free markets. We saw subprime loans in the decades almost collapsing the world economy. We saw banks, Wachovia, failed, bailed out, bought, Lehman's collapse. He wasn't a great communicator, he was a great liar. And he lied. Again, tried to make America great again, ushered in one of the several decades of avarice, vice, and the Bernie Madoffs and a lot of other fraud and shenanigans. Had him voting, a whole bunch of black folks, including my family members, voting for this fool. And he lied. But sometimes people will believe the lie because the reality is that they would actually have to work to basically guarantee the fantasy that person is lying about. Most Americans didn't know. We saw one of the greatest runs on bull runs, positivity in the stock market between 2022 to 2024. The rich did get richer. But if you have most people think about it, they thought that we were already in a great recession, that the stock market had been tanking, when it only just went a lot higher and then started tanking. And the biggest concern on Wall Street right now is stagflation, where inflation is so high and our economic growth that we've actually seen in the previous 4 years. But nobody wants to talk about that. Everybody just wants to basically continue their lie, ill-planned tariffs, destroying whole departments, For what? Because we got somebody that's on a salty get back campaign because he wasn't elected in, because he wanted to be elected in and he wanted to never leave. So they're on some get back. But there is no plans to replace everything that they're trying to write into oblivion. Same thing with Obamacare. There is no replacement. There is no replacement for the Department of Education. And furthermore, you need 60 votes to basically, you need truly an act of Congress between the Senate and the state, the representatives, House of Representatives, to be able to get rid of entire departments. That's why people are concerned about Social Security and a lot of these other departments that have been gutted. But a lot of these departments also they've been, and like the Department of Defense, they know where their bread is buttered, and they've been waiting to basically whitewash the Department of Defense. But who are the admins and the people that are fighting your war and that are supporting your administrative staff? How is that going to look? That's a bad look. But they've been waiting to be able to erase all of this. But I tell you this, you got to realize what you're trying to erase and write. And is it right because it's white? No, it is not. What you've been in a stage of not being trash human beings. The work is not over for that. But you're also the type of people that you actually have now are very savvy. We actually have a plan. We got jump boxes. We got jump finances. So if we need to really disappear, we actually can. And again, we're also petty. We don't forget anything. We may not know where our car keys are, but we also now know that we can probably start that MF by our phone. And we will we could also be passive aggressive. Oh, I'm only going to say it once. I don't repeat myself. And no, I'm not going to help you. And when you realize the level of depravity that y'all voted in, that's a y'all problem. You want me to do what now? I already told you this was crazy. You knew it was crazy, and you still blindly did this shit. Your people also think that just because you wear a mask, but these black shirts in, basically following the orders of, again, a sociopath, the same fools that followed Hitler, his black shirts, and his soldiers, all of them still serve jail time unless they went into hiding. It could have been 40, 50, 60 years later, but they still got. So with that said, we have long memories and we are very petty, and we will not forget the dirt and the stupid things that y'all have done in these next several years, because the repercussions of what y'all have done in the first 100 days, I think we're still going to be feeling the repercussions of those for the next couple of decades. And it's all going to be your fault. And all we can do is prepare for a softer landing, for the fallout of the delusion and the sociopathy that y'all have unleashed. And that's all I got to say about that. But don't you ask me to donate anything, to carry any banner, or to help train do what y'all should have not dismantled, so you won't have to redo this crap. Instead of y'all banding together to force a international company to take certain language that shows humanity and equality off of their website? Why don't you focus on securing the future generations and what you can do now to stave off the implosion of our environment? Make sure drinking water is safe. Make sure there are no food deserts with your constituency. Why don't you just do your job instead of being focused on this minutia? How about that? Do your job and mind the business that pays you. And just leave us alone. Again, we don't want to be you. We really don't. We're a messy bunch, the shady bunch, the shady bunch. I hope for checks is worth being part of the shady bunch. Okay, I get why Phaedra basically gave the deuces to Married to Medicine. Number one, I get it. They want to portray messy. They want to portray professionalism and polite society, but they don't want to really reveal the mess. And that makes Married to Medicine sometimes unwatchable. And I get, but the mess is back as far as Real Housewives of Atlanta. Drew Sidora need to go somewhere with that blonde, ugly ass wig. I think Cynthia Bailey is just as beautiful as she always has been and is more beautiful. I look at Kenya. She is even so much more. She's just as gorgeous as she always been. And I'm sad that I hope that they will be able to work out something after she's put on pause for a minute. And if she wants to come back, Portia and the Simon Gabadia of it all is just a match made in mess. I think she is messy, frazzled. She's going to try to self-produce, but they're not going to be here for it because she's going to be outshined with the Shamia of it all. Everybody's best friend, Shamia Morton, is bringing the clout. Her $9 million house, her HVAC empire husband is all the rage, and she is there showing the girls. This short Kelly girl, I'm going to have to check out Nona's the next time I'm in Atlanta because she evidently has Nona's Chickens and Waffles. I think I've seen that from the highway. She has a whole bunch of kids, and she's ending a bad marriage. She's messy. Britt, I'm sorry to tell this to you, but girl, it is not known that insurance agents is synonymous with sexy after parties. Maybe in your head, but no. That gave me such somebody that was always on the come up and of the periphery, and she is the Lulu. Is going to make her a great reality star because she lives in unreality. Charles Barkley, I had forgotten all about him. He's sexy, gray-haired man, but his wife seems to live in what he once was and not what the reality is now. I suspect Delulu. And I think she's also going to make a fascinating reality star. This reboot has a potential to get us back to where we were because the last 2 or 3 seasons of Real Housewives has really sucked. And now I get why it had to go on pause. They had to work out these girls that seem to be actual. They know each other, except for some of the old heads, because Cynthia, she's probably been out of Atlanta for a minute. I think she spent a lot of time in LA. I, I only think the only one that may have, except for Jaunt's overseas with her daughter, but Kenya Moore, who has her studio or her hair salon in Atlanta. Even Drew Sidora, I don't think any of the true old heads really have been like that in Atlanta, with the exception of Kenya. And so the new girls, tried and true girls, are going to bring and give us a new image. And having Shamia now as a peach holder, except for, and I know a lot of people may have liked the Marlo of it all, and she was a friend of for many, 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 many seasons. But this one is going to seem to fit. If you want obsolete and you want to that girl kind of vibe, for real, that's married, got the kids, Shamia is that girl. And it sounds like they may have come up off the coin, but she don't need the coin. Maybe Marlo didn't need the coin either, but she still had the trappings of friend of. I don't think she should have been a peach holder, or maybe they should have waited, because it is okay not to be booed up against with someone and you have fake relationships. We're so over the fake relationships of it all. And real family stories, and all of these women that they've brought on seem to have that in spades, which makes it even more sad to me that Kenya Moore is not going to be able to participate, because I would love to see how Brooklyn evolves, and how she grows up, and her being just a real pipey kind of person. It's like a smaller, light-skinned version of Kenya. The world, I don't know if it's ready for that, but I'm here for it. But it's sad because of I don't know if it's a misunderstanding or it was a choice that she made that was the wrong choice. I say lean into your villainhood, but just don't go too far. And it sounds like she may have just gone too far. So she will be missed, but we'll see how the rest of these girls actually go. So the Real Housewives of Atlanta is back. And I completely get why Phaedra gave them the deuces. And she left like truly on the, she showed up at the last couples trip with her younger, fine boyfriend, who just happens to be a good friend or in that same friend circle as her ex-husband, who also is still kind of fine, Apollo, convict. And she basically gave them the deuces, called them a bunch of mean girls, and she's Queen Mean Girl running back to Atlanta on her rented private jet. True, phony, F.A.A.F.O, hilarious. But I'm more intrigued with these Leerks from the reunion. Toya Harris is always ready to stun on him. She's so Detroit. Contessa, meh, not impressed. Quad, oh my God. Quad is serving face check, dress check. Everything was just on fleek. She looked absolutely beautiful. She is a walking, talking black Barbie doll. Sweet Tea, girl, either you need a new stylist or you need to listen to them. because your hair was actually okay. Your hair was really giving. Face was okay. The dress is a no. It looked like Mother of the Bride from the neck down. Simone, okay, KK, she was alright. Heavenly, I don't understand her. She has a big head. Jackie still likes an unfed Mama of the Bride. And there was another doctor who was a psychiatrist, and she was just meh. I can't even remember that girl's name. Her husband was a former NFL player, but yeah, anyways. I'm not sure why they had to split the reunion into 3 parts. All I could think was that this was a weird season and it finally ended, thankfully. I truly do get why Phaedra jumped ship. Is it because Married to Medicine is crashing out and is getting canceled, or is getting ready to get on pause and they're going to have to do a soft reboot? I don't know if she means well, but she is of this generation that overshares online and she just talks too damn much. I don't understand why it was necessary for them to shade the Real Housewives of Atlanta, who they own. This is Married to Medicine. They owe their own presence for. So you don't shed the hand that feeds you, you typical crab. Married to the Mess, I just can't. But I do watch and listen to other podcasters and YouTubers, and Bingeworthy was right on point with this one, because I honestly think if it hasn't already been announced, and I just haven't been online to notice such, that I think, if anything, they are getting ready for a reckoning. And if we don't find out, because if the numbers don't show it and don't support it, if the announcement is not going to come soon, nobody's been asked back, because I think they're getting ready to do what they did after season 15 and those abysmal ratings for Real Housewives of Atlanta that you shaded, but that was a precursor to what is about to happen to them. They're getting ready to be put on pause. And if you don't have anything already lined up, you better get ready, because the coins is getting ready to stop, because I'm just confused, very much confused. I don't see any resolution, and this is probably going to be the last time y'all going to have to dress up for any kind of gala, because you're not going to have the platform and because nobody's going to care. So buckle up, Buttercup, because it's about to be a very bumpy spring and summer, because I honestly think they're getting ready to be put on pause, if they're brought back at all. Cue the House of the Shaws of Sunset. Just saying. You can take the girl out of the hood, but you can't take hood music out the girl. But I'm going to end this with a word, just as I started this podcast. Do or do not do. There is no try. And that's a word from Yoda. I hope I have conveyed just how much fun I have had in creating this podcast. I've got my mojo back. Just set your intention, or reset your intention. It could be daily if necessary. Mine is peace. No mental dumping over here. If I'm acting like I'm not listening, I'm probably not. I'm not your therapist. I'm not a therapist. Keep the crazy to yourself, child. You do you and leave me be. The sooner you figure that ish out, the happy you will be. So this is what I want to convey in this podcast. And that wraps another of F.A.A.F.O has a fro. Join me next time as I throw shade and point out the shade and simply have fun. Y'all have a great new year. Ah, 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 What? What, y'all? What? What?